Week 8, blue cheese, New York Football Giants. Again, I am left sad and frustrated, but mostly like the wind has been removed from my sails. I mean, I kind of knew that we weren't going to be able to beat the Eagles twice in one season, especially with the state of both franchises. But I didn't think that it would be this upsetting and this much of a gut punch. You know? This game really sucked. It really sucked. I mean, this picture is worth 1,000 words, man. What this guy has brought to the team this year was everything that it needed. It was literally like an AED to the heart of the New York Football Giants. And part of our heart was just ripped from us. And Zach Bone's a piece of shit because it was a hip drop tackle, which wasn't flagged, of course, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But it just sucks when, the guy who knows that the team is losing but gets up every day, brings energy, laughs, smiles, wants to be better, makes everybody around him better, makes everybody around him believe and have fun. And now we don't get to have him. We don't. We already lost our superstar wide receiver, and now we lost our Energizer Bunny. I mean, any standard New York Giants fan understands the pain here, right? Week 4, we lose our superstar receiver, especially once Jaxson Dart starts taking snaps under center, running with the first team, and we lose him for the year. All right, and then Skatt starts looking like, wow, he could be this really like ball of energy playing running back, catching, running, blocking, and just feeding off the Dart mania. And now we lose him. The story of the New York Giants since the new MetLife Stadium has been devastating injuries to our superstars and our up-and-coming players. We lose them to the turf monster, and even if it's away games, we lose them to silly crap, and it sucks. It really sucks because I at that point, it's just like a crushing blow, and it's tough to even watch. And then with the Skatt injury, the entire team, the whole momentum shifted. It went from fired up and excited to monotone and just dreary. With the injuries being said, I was having fun watching Dart and Skatt just continue to compete and try hard on offense. But now without Skatt, I'm scared that Dart is either going to get hurt or just not have as much fire and flair. It's tough to just push on through. But I really do think that he's going to handle adversity fine. But again, losing our star players and all the fun ones, every Sunday is going to be me. Like Michael Scott right here. I'm dead inside. I feel like always, every time the Giants get anything good or successful or fun, it's ripped from us in the most unfair way. And I don't know if the NFL is scripted, but God damn it, they never let us have anything nice. We can never have anything nice. All right, but moving on to a different facet. The NFL officiating in the Giants-Eagles game for this week was absolute dog shit. It was so bad. And I don't look for penalties. I don't want to see penalties rule a game on both sides. I just don't want to see them butt their heads in and control the outcome. But goddamn, the Eagles were getting away with a ton of stuff that was detrimental to either them moving the ball or stopping us on offense. And then the NFL officials were calling crap on the Giants that just wasn't applicable, or it just wasn't enough to really warrant that flag. But the biggest ones to me, right? Number one being the Jalen Hurts tush push, which I'm going to get into. That was bullshit. And that needs to be banned now, because if you can't officiate it correctly or consistently, then it shouldn't be a play. I'm sorry. Number two, they totally missed the hip drop tackle by Zach Asshole Bond on Cam Scatabo that clearly destroyed his season. And luckily it wasn't any more than it is right now. Fingers crossed and still saying prayers. But the third one was the the OPI on Darius Slayton to take away a big touchdown. That, maybe it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the game, but at least would have gave us some boost and push. We were looking flat and dead, and all of a sudden we had a big play. But that wrecked all three, and I just can't. Want to see some bullshit? Look at this tush push play, man. Oh, okay. So I've been an advocate for banning this play for a few weeks now. It really didn't bother me up until probably the first time we played the Giants, where they thought they were cool and they just did 4 straight tush pushes to score a touchdown. It's so lame. It's so boring. It's unoriginal. It can cause tons of injuries, and it's a cop-out, in my opinion. But what really set me over the edge was this week, right? Clearly, the tush push, the whole point of it is to push the ball carrier over the goal line, right? Or the first down, I guess, whatever. But it's about continuing forward motion, gaining yardage, okay? In this clip, they only needed 1 yard, but they continue to push Jalen Hurts. The ball is stuck out as if it was the end zone with just 2 hands to get the first down, but he's still moving forward. So in theory, right, if he's still moving forward, that ball can be swatted out, stolen, slapped, or fumbled. And Kayvon Thibodeau had a heads-up play to maybe shut this down, ripped it out of his hands, and then recovered the ball. But the ref said that forward progress was stopped, which is ass, because look, the hands are on Jalen Hurts' ass, pushing him forward while he gets the ball stripped from him. So, by textbook definition, that is a fumble, everyone. But, the referees, it's inconsistent to call this play. They can't officiate it every other game the right way. One game is one way, and then this game is this way. So, if you can't get this right, it needs to be banned. And I don't care that this play has been kept around because Jason Kelsey, America's sweetheart, said and gave a speech at a conference or the Hall of Fame thing, whatever the heck it was. That don't matter, dude. This can't happen. It changes the outcomes of games. And it changes momentum. It's a big thing. You want to talk about all that NBA and La Cosa Nostra bullshit? Guess what? This looks worse, referees and officials and the NFL. The FBI is watching you. So this is more nonsense from the referees that they missed a call and then they called it the other way. But I know it's hard to see from your phone screen, but if you watch Jordan Mailata's left arm and hip and leg on the left side, right before Kayvon jumps, there is the slightest twitch, okay? And again, by rule, a false start is on an offensive player when they move in the slightest bit, dude. So, yes, did Kayvon come over the line? Yeah, but he was tempted to by a move from Jordan Mailata. But the referees didn't see that. The only thing they saw was the movement by big number 5. Okay? Bothersome, frustrating, annoying, and again, inconsistent. Even if the referee crew, just had a bad day, okay? I guess it could be, excusable. But it was, consistently all on the Giants, and it was clearly that the Eagles either got away with one, they were covered up, or just flat out missed, which then just leads me to prove, or just not prove, but to ask the question of what are we watching? Or what are we doing? I don't know anymore. I'm not really sure. And again, I'll leave the referee thing alone after this, but in this game here, this specific call, he originally called this, right, on the Eagles and then switched it, but he didn't name the New York Giants. He said it's on the New York Jets and then laughed. I mean, what do we need? A magnetometer to say This guy's an asshole. He doesn't know what he's doing, and he put money on the over. Scripted bullshit, insider betting. I mean, goddamn, make it more obvious, you fuck. Okay, so my hope is that this week against the 49ers in our legacy threads is that we compete and that we play a good game. You know, we're decimated by injuries at this point. We don't have anybody playing wide receiver other than Wan'Dale Robinson. And, you know, I don't even know if we can blame it on Dable and Shane anymore because the same old thing happens, the freaking injury bug. And then we have nobody, and we're playing with practice squad players or dudes off the couch. You know, it sucks. If I were John Mara and the rest of the front office, I would fire my entire training staff after this year. I would hire some fitness gurus or something to change it up because whatever we have is not working. It really isn't. Like, when you can't have your superstars healthy for a majority of the season, your team is not going to be successful. You want the best players out there all the time, right? You want them available. I'm not saying they can't get breaks, but like, if we can't have a Malik Neighbors or a Cam Scatterbo or, you know, a Javon Holland or a Micah McFadden, it's really going to hurt us. And then, God forbid, something happens to one of our D linemen this week. We're in the shitter. Whatever. Week 8 out.